Hello, and welcome to the GLP-1 Hub Podcast. My name is Anna Reisdorf. I'm a registered dietitian and GLP-1 user. I wanted to start this podcast because I really feel passionate about creating a community around GLP-1 users, but also providing support that you need along your journey. So not only are we going to have guests every week that are going to come on to talk about various topics, we are also going to have users like you that are going to come share their stories, the good, the bad, the ugly, so we can look at this from all different angles. If you want to connect with us further, be sure to join our Facebook group. You're going to want to search GLP-1 Hub Support and Community on Facebook. Also, if you're liking this podcast, please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment. 5 stars are always welcome. I would love more reviews so the podcast can grow and we can have even better guests on to help you. So let's get on with the show. Welcome to the GLP-1 Hub Podcast. I'm really excited for our guest today, Danae Walker. She is a Washington, D.C. based organizer, and she helps you declutter. Her business is called Declutter by Danae, and she does coaching to help you get rid of all of your stuff, your physical stuff. But I thought that it was very relevant to weight loss as well, because some of us might be hanging on to some items that don't fit, will never fit, might never fit, or hopefully will never fit again. And so she's here to talk about all of those. So let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Danae. I've been an organizer here in the DC metro area full-time since 2021. So really what I do is I help people through the process of letting go of things. You know, some of our items that we have can be quite sentimental. Sometimes we're just busy. And sometimes we just don't know where to start when we're doing our decluttering and organizing of our homes. So that's where I come in to help. On top of that, I also help with move management. But for today's conversation, we're going to talk about letting go of things and how to transition into your new life. Yeah, people come to me to be kind of like their Jiminy Cricket and help guide them through the process.
So how did you get involved in wanting to help people organize? Were you like a fan of hoarders or?
Well, no, actually, I don't like watching that show. It's too much for me. So I don't deal with hoarders mostly. But for me, I actually worked in the corporate life just like everyone else. You know, I was in B2B sales. I worked in coffee and alcoholic beverages. And I got laid off from a job and I'm like, okay, what do I do now? I need something to occupy my time. And at that moment, Marie Kondo was very popular. Her show came out on Netflix and I got really into it. So I started doing my house and then I had all this free time on my hands and started offering help to my neighbors. And I went back to a regular job for a while and then finally decided, no, this is my calling. This is what I'm good at and people need this help. So yeah, that's how I dove in.
The Marie Kondo show came out when I was pregnant and I had really, really extreme nesting and I was getting the house ready for the baby to come. And oh my God, I spent hours rolling tiny onesies.
Yeah.
Like people, everything in the house was rolled. Everything was perfect because like I was so crazy hormonally.
Right.
I guess it was good. The second baby, that didn't happen to me at all.
Sure,
I was just trying to keep it
just throw it in the drawer. Yeah.
Just like, whatever.
Right.
You got clothes on, we're good. It impacted me too, just a like slightly less productive, more psychotic way.
Right.
Anyway, so what I was interested in to talk to you about is, I mean, we can obviously talk about decluttering all aspects of life, but really, I think that sometimes when we have a problem with our weight, we will hold on to things that either don't fit anymore and, you know, our high school jeans, or I'm guilty of this, have a collection of clothes from when we were larger. And like my mother told me, oh, just get rid of those so you can never fit into them again. You know, because like that way you won't gain the weight because you don't have clothes that fit. So how do we decide, you know, when we're transitioning from being overweight to being a smaller weight with the help of these medications or whatever method we decide, how do we decide what to keep and what to go? Like, I don't even know where to start.
Well, I think the first place we start, whether it's weight loss or just decluttering your closet in general, the first things you're going to ask yourself is, do I really like this piece of clothing? Do I like this at all? Does it look good on me? If this did fit properly, would I keep it? You know, like sometimes we keep things just because we've bought them and it's like, I spent the money on it. I hate this dress. It doesn't look good on me, but I already spent the money, so I'm going to keep it. So number one, do I even like it? Number two, yes, if it were damaged, if something ripped on it, if it got a stain, would you make the effort to replace it or fix it? If the answer is no, that's an easy let go. I think to try not to hold on to things that are two sizes too big or too small, stay within that range. When it starts getting 3, 4, 5, 6 sizes out of your range, most likely, hopefully you're not going to transition back to those sizes.
Mm-hmm. And then hopefully maybe the styles would change too.
Right,
by that
exactly.
point. And so maybe you could get something new. So as you're going through, do you recommend like purging every so often, or like how do you stay on top of it? Because I got excited and I wanted to buy new clothes. I haven't gotten rid of old clothes, but then occasionally I'll put something on and I'll be like, oh, like this doesn't look as nice because too big or too baggy,
Right.
or,
Yeah, I think so. Right now is a great time of year to go through your closet. I usually do it seasonally. I recommend to my clients that they do it seasonally from the cold to the warmer months. So from winter going to spring and summer, great time to transition and go through your closet. And then from the summer into fall, winter. But if you're losing weight quickly, I would almost recommend doing it about every 6 weeks. Go through your closet, go through the things and say, okay, I'm never going to fit in this again. I never want to fit into this again. I don't love this dress, these pants, whatever, and go ahead and pull them out. I always suggest keeping a little bin or a little bag in the corner of your closet or a corner of your room for your donation. So I don't suggest doing a huge purge if you're losing weight quickly, just because of the ebbs and flows. You still need, your just in case pieces. But yeah, I think maybe every 6 weeks is a good time frame to kind of skim your closet and pull some things out.
Sure. When you're going through some things, sometimes you feel like there's certain items that you're kind of emotionally attached to. I've had this hot pink skirt in my closet that I used to wear when I was trying to go fishing for boys when I was single. And I put it on this weekend and it like almost was a little big. And I haven't worn it in years because I've been married for 10 years.
Right.
So, that's been something I've been holding on to. And there's like, I don't know, there's emotional attachment. Maybe it's like a past part of myself.
Sure.
And it's just the one skirt, it's not like a collection. So if you have some items like that you sort of have an emotional connection to, how do you move on with it, or what are some suggestions that you have
Sure.
of what to do with those items?
I definitely relate to this. I have this dress that I bought in Italy that I loved and I always got great compliments on. And then one day it just didn't fit anymore. So what am I doing with it? But I think you have to have the mindset of this is me from the past. Even though I love me and I loved that dress, or I loved whatever item that is, this is not me who I am in this present day. I always recommend taking a picture. If you want to have those memories, pull out pictures of the time you wore that dress. I don't really like to hold on to a lot of past memory clothes because this is who I am now. And I'm moving forward from those days. So yeah, take a picture of it.
What did you do with your dress? Did you take a picture of it and get...
I did.
You're going to cry now on the podcast.
I loved it. I loved that dress so much. It was so unique. But yeah, I took a picture of it, or I had pictures of me in an event wearing that dress. So I could always go back and say, oh, look how cool that looked. But I did finally sell it on Poshmark, and let somebody else look beautiful in it.
What are some signs that, let's say you started on the medication or on your weight loss journey and you've been holding on to those size 4 jeans from high school. And let's say that you're just like, no matter what you do, you're never going to get there, right? Because most of us aren't going to weigh what we weighed in high school ever again. Our bodies aren't going to look the same. So at what point should you say, okay, well, now it's time to sort of let that go?
Yeah, I think you have to kind of play a little bit of a dress up. Look, I'm not getting in these. I haven't gotten in these in over X amount of years. And think about the space that you have in your closet and make the space for the new things that you want that fits your lifestyle now and fits your body type now. Because you're clogging up space in your closet or your dresser or whatever for things that serve no purpose for you anymore. So I think a pair of jeans, unless they have some kind of special significance, maybe you don't need to take a picture of. But I think going back to that, all right, it's at least 2 sizes out of your range of sizing. I think it's time to either donate them or, have a clothing swap with your friends. You can do it in a fun way, put it up on Poshmark or, and it's okay to let it go. And this is where Marie Kondo comes into play for some of these emotional items. Maybe this is the time where you thank your clothing. So thank you for the fun times we had together, but I'm moving on.
Mhm. Yeah. So when you start with working with someone, how do you start? Do you start by talking about some of their goals and what they're trying to let go of? Do you start room by room? Tell us the process of what it's like to work with an organizer.
Sure. So how I work is we do a consultation call first where the client tells me what their goals are for whichever space we're working in. Say it's a closet. My closet is it's not functional. I can't get dressed quickly enough. I can't find anything when I'm looking for it. It's just a mess. I can't see anything. So usually the first step is to declutter. We go through the pieces that no longer serve you, don't fit anymore, you don't love. Whether that's, I actually don't do it Marie Kondo style where you pull everything out and go piece by piece because I find that to be overwhelming for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So we kind of break the closet into segments and just go through piece by piece quickly. That way it's easy for us to pause when we need to. And then from there, I like to color code. I like to go kind of Roy G. Biv in the closet. So I start with shirts and then skirts, pants, and then whatever other categories you have, if you have dresses. But yeah, it's easier that way. If you're saying, I'm looking for a white button-down shirt, go to the white section, short sleeve to long sleeve, boom, right there. There's my white shirt. So usually I work in multiple sections of people's houses.
Okay.
It's actually rare that I only work in one because once we get one done, people tend to get excited and want to move on to other projects in the house. So we create a plan of like, okay, what are your trouble spots in the house? What do you need to be in order first for you to have peace at home? And then we get there.
There's a couple of shows like there's some home organizers that live here in Nashville. What are they? Home Edit people. So, everything they do is beautiful and rainbow and full of bins and things you can buy at Walmart on their brand and all of the things. So as a person who bought their book and looked at all the rainbow colors and was like, I need to go to Walmart and get all these things. What about bins and organizing equipment? And do you recommend starting with any of that? Because it's really fun. It's really exciting to get into the bins.
No, I don't. They are definitely, I love them. I binged their whole show too, but I don't think they are realistic for the average person. The number one thing I recommend is do not go out and run and buy all these bins and baskets and beautiful things before you have the plan of what you're going to do with them. I often come across clients that do that and the things don't fit properly. So first we figure out what is the plan and how do you need your closet or your pantry or whatever to function. And then you have to take the measurements. You have to make sure things fit properly. And then there's different organizing styles. There's another organizer that has a company called Clutterbug. And she has this whole quiz about what's your organizing style. Do you need to see your things or do you want your things tucked away? And that makes a huge difference. Me, if you look behind me, I like to see my stuff. Everything is in a little bit or in a box. And it's not micro organized in that box, but I know where all my things are. So it's figuring out what your organizing style is and the space that you have. And so when you go out and rush and buy these things, a lot of times you're stuck with overflow, useless things that you've wasted money on now. So no, I don't recommend rushing out and buying those. Come up with your plan first, take your measurements, and then figure out what type of tools you need. And that's where I come in. I help you figure out what is going to be most functional for your space.
Right. Because they make it look so pretty. And then they have a van full of bins or whatever that they roll up to your house in. And you're like, oh,
well, you think about it, kids. And sure, if I put this together in my house and I live by myself, I'll be able to maintain it. But now I got a 4-year-old and a 17-year-old and, my husband and this and that, and nobody's putting things where they're supposed to be, and your whole plan that you had for yourself is not working out. And that's where people get frustrated. Yeah. Figure out how you need it to function. Your 4-year-old may not put things back exactly precisely how you would, right? Go figure. So maybe you need something that's easy for him to just toss in a basket, So it's figuring out, being realistic about how your family puts things away.
So let's talk about children, because I have 2 boys. One of them has a particular problem of, I just took out a empty box of blackberries from the fridge. This is an ongoing issue that he eats everything out of the box and then just leaves it in the fridge. So yesterday I finished this bottle of wine and I was like, look, my wine is empty. And now I'm going to take it to this bin where you goes into the trash. So it's been challenging. He's 7, so he's not 4.
Right.
So how do you get your family on board? Because the clutter stresses me out. My husband is blind, not legally, but maybe. Yes. I don't know with how bad it is.
Right.
I mean,
how come you don't see this?
And my children, they don't care, but I care a lot. And so how do you help manage that with the family in like keeping things in order?
One thing I do with some of my families is I help them create almost like a productivity or a chore chart. This is age appropriate chores and tasks that your family members could do to help you out so that you aren't managing everything by yourself and then getting resentful that no one's helping you. I think with the little ones, yeah, they need constant reminders, unfortunately. I also think that giving them chores, say, for instance, your kid never throws away the empty compartments. Maybe on the night before trash day, it's going to be his task to go through the refrigerator and find all the empties and understand that now you're creating more work for yourself by not doing this in real time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want to spend every Wednesday night doing this. Just do it as you go. And maybe like the habits will start being ingrained in his mind,
Right, right. So our issue is really like the counter. We live in a home that has a large kitchen counter and people come in and just throw stuff. Guilty, but my own stuff doesn't bother me. It's everyone else's stuff. And then I get mad. So how does one manage like that sort of active space?
I think you have to create zones in your house, especially these Amazon packages are a problem for everybody. You end up just dumping them on the counter or on the stairs or wherever else. Maybe there needs to be a drop zone in the house. This is where Amazon packages go. This is where our returns go. We need a basket or some kind of stand-up file for homework. We need maybe a command center that we all can check in on where our calendar is. And there's hooks where we can hang our backpacks and our keys and a bowl for the wallet. But there should be, I like to have everything contained. When things are loose, it looks so much messier, but even just putting things in a bowl or on a tray or in a basket makes things look so much better. I love having, especially for kids, I love for them to have their own basket. For one family, she had this issue with their kids dropping things all over the house. And so part of their chores was at the end of the day, they grabbed their basket, did a walk through the house, picked all their little items up, took them up to their room and put them away. And so, yeah, I think just having zones for each thing. Like if you recognize that you're dropping your wallet and your keys on this counter, maybe mom has a basket that this is mom's little bowl where my stuff goes into. Dad has his bowl, son has his basket and just designated spots where they're kind of dropping things.
Right.
Like I noticed that sometimes people are like, oh, well, my kid keeps dropping their backpack here and it's driving me nuts. All right. If this is where you're noticing they're dropping their backpack, maybe put a hook there because it's in his brain that this is where my backpack goes. Instead of fighting him to put it upstairs in the closet, it's never going to happen. Create a hook. At least it's off the floor, something. Work with how you naturally flow through the house and create the system that works with your flow.
Right. I think we need to do that because the computer for school got left on a dining room table in the back corner for days. And the teacher messaged me and was like, why isn't he bringing his computer back? And I'm like, whoops. But I think that's a good idea to have like a designated space and then just train them.
Mm-hmm. That's the tricky part is the training. It takes time. But yeah, I think it's like kind of analyzing where are these things going when he walks in the house? What is his process? Is he dropping here and then walking over here and figuring out what his system is when he comes in? Because even though it doesn't seem like he has a system, he does because he's doing things a certain way and trying to figure out a way that this can be more tidy.
Right. Definitely. I have some ideas now that I'm thinking about it. So for people on GLP-1 medication, they have to do things like eat more protein and maybe take certain supplements. Like I always recommend them take a multivitamin. My vitamin D is low right now, so I have to take a vitamin D. I have the largest collection of supplement, not the largest. There's people that have much larger than me, just sitting on the counter. And I know it bothers my husband, but I feel like I won't take them if I don't see them. Because if I put them in a closet, then I'll forget. I already forget and they're sitting right there. So if you have something like that you have to do every day, some kind of medicine, supplement, whatever it is, how do you keep it top of mind without it being everywhere?
You know what? I love technology for something like this because I just started taking a new medication and I knew that I would never remember to take it. So I have a reminder that pops up on my phone every morning, a visual audio reminder, boom, take your medication. For people that are taking multiple supplements and medications, the bottles start to, look a little untidy if you have them all over the countertop. So what I suggest is getting like a 30-day pill box, take one day, fill it all up, and then tuck the bottles away. Have your pill box out. At least that's better than having 6, 7, 8 bottles on the countertop. And then once it's empty, just refill it. But the reminder on your phone or a habit tracker app, something like that, that'll give you a pop-up so you don't forget. That is key for me, at least.
Do you have an app that you recommend that you've been using? Do you know the name of it?
Now I'm just using Apple Health. So if you have an iPhone, Apple Health, you can set up your medications in there and set up what time you want it to remind you. But I also like one for people that have family members and you're trying to remember things together. There's one called Habit Share. And that way you can set each other up as like accountability partners. And then I think those are the only ones I'm using. Just a regular reminder in your phone can work. There's so many out there.
There are.
Yeah.
There are. And now there's a bunch of like ones for GLP-1 people specifically too, that says like you could log your side effects and whatever else. Anyway, in terms of sometimes when people lose a lot of weight, they tend to also lose a lot of emotional baggage that they were carrying. You know, I used to, when I first started being a dietitian, I worked with people who were very morbidly obese and were preparing for gastric bypass surgery. And a lot of the emotions that would come up as they were losing the weight was a big deal for them. As you're losing the weight, you might start having some of that come up with the emotions, with your things, with your house, like suddenly you're not satisfied with what it looks like. Do you have any thoughts around that? Is some of that emotional stuff that might come up as you shed weight?
Yeah, I think this is where mindfulness and your mindset really comes into play of, working on your self-esteem through the process. Yeah, a lot of times I work with people and they have such difficulty letting things go just because they've always had them, or maybe it was a gift from someone, and they can get quite emotional. I think that is probably the toughest part of my job, is the emotions that come along with it. You don't realize how important some of these things are to you until it's time to let them go. So you have to kind of have that mindset of, is this the person I want to be right now? Let's focus on the things that are making me happy and guiding me towards where I want to be in life. These clothes from the past, from when I was not healthy and not looking my best and not feeling my best, are not serving me anymore. And I'm not that person anymore. And it may take, I love a daily mantra. I get these mantras in my emails every morning, and it just sets me up for a great day. I recently started doing meditation, and I love that positive self-talk. I think we all need those reminders sometimes to think about our future selves and who we are now. It's okay to let go of the past. Okay, so today's mantra is, I am filled with light. I am surrounded by light. I am guided by light. I am protected by light. I am light. So I love it. So every morning I get these at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I just kind of read through them. And, sometimes it just gives you a positive outlook for the day. And, when you're feeling good, a lot of times people can feel that and then they'll feel good too.
So you recommend, or you try to spend, even if it's just a couple minutes, putting your mindset correct in the morning. I think that when you're in a transition, like that's important. When your life is changing because of weight loss or shedding old things, putting that in is important. It's easy to just get wrapped up in doing all the stuff.
Right. I mean, clothes in general, for me, clothes are a big part of my self-esteem. I know when I put on clothes that look good and I feel good, I carry it with me throughout the day. But if I put on something and I feel like I look sloppy and it doesn't fit right, and, I just don't feel good enough. I'm not going to be my true self. I'm not going to be as comfortable. So, we carry that stuff with us.
Definitely. Like, I think it does reflect. And I know for me, I feel like there's been times where I haven't dressed as nicely just because I didn't feel like I could.
Sure.
And now it's coming up that, oh, well, this pink skirt fits again. Well,
hey, right.
now I don't have any shirts that go cute with it because everything is loose and the skirt needs something, better. Anyway, so do you do fashion consulting as well as part of your organizing?
You know what? I don't, but maybe that's something to think about, because I do deal with a lot of closets. I have a client I'm working with right now, matter of fact, that is on this medication. And because I asked her, she was talking about how she lost 60 pounds in X amount of months. And I asked her what she did. And she's, I don't think it's Ozempic, but it's some other medication that she was on. And so we're transitioning her out of the larger clothes, but we still have some of the smaller clothes that she wants to get into. What I suggested is that, let's pull out some of these overflow clothes that aren't fitting right now that you think you're going to fit into, we're working towards fitting into, but let's not let it clog up your now clothes, So whether we put it in a storage bin and tuck it under the bed or in another closet, at least it's not making your current space overflow.
Right. And then sometimes when you pull out that clothes and some of them fit you, it's like a shopping spree in your
Right,
closet.
exactly.
Yes, there's a lady here in Nashville who I know who that's what she does. She'll do like a closet decluttering, but then put together outfits from your stuff and then say, okay, go buy a white shirt, like a basic white shirt that you're going to need for these certain outfits. So
Yes,
it's like
I
a
love
second
that.
part.
I love that. And I actually do that. I plan my wardrobe very strategically. I think I do it probably more than most people do. I don't have a capsule wardrobe, but I go on Pinterest and I'm like, okay, everyone needs a little black dress, the white button down shirt, a trench coat, and I strategically shop for things that I know that will be more functional in my closet and make it easier for me to get dressed.
Sure,
I mean, I work in leggings all day because I'm an organizer, so I don't need as many clothes as I used to, but yeah, I like it to make it easy when I get dressed.
So let's talk about that with shopping, because we mentioned the Amazon packages and how they arrive often. And sometimes I just go on and buy things and then they come in. I don't hate them, but I don't love them. Right now I feel like my closet is full of things that I'm like, this is fine because I work from home.
Right.
And I'm just like, if I have a t-shirt on and some leggings, like it's fine. So how do we, if we are at our goal, how do we strategically plan out some of those new items or a closet that doesn't feel good?
Right. So I think I love lists. I like writing out what I want. If I see something on TV, I immediately want it, but try not to shop immediately. Like let things sit in your basket for a while and marinate on it for a little bit, because that's where we get trapped in over purchasing. It's so easy to just click. Your credit card's already clicked in there and you just hit go. So take a little time to think about how you're going to wear these items. Do I really need a bright pink sequin skirt? It looks cool, but how much use am I going to get out of this?
Sure.
So yeah, try to be a little bit more strategic about it, and then think about transition clothes, like maybe wrap dresses that can fit you in multiple sizes, things that stretch, with a little bit of elastic. I lost a little bit of weight and I had all these jeans that I bought last year that don't fit now. And I found these little rivets that you could put on them to tighten your waistband of your jeans.
Oh.
So I don't have to immediately go out and buy the size smaller. So there are ways to kind of tailor your items so that you don't have to rush and over purchase, especially if you're fluctuating that quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Because what are you going to do? Buy a full wardrobe every other month?
I think that you can transition, but I think that the things for your pants are a good idea, because I remember I used to when I was pregnant, I put a little rubber band around my jeans so I could be in them longer and I didn't have to buy the maternity ones just yet. So there's like ways that you can make your clothes still fit. So this has been a wonderful conversation. I'm so excited that you're here. So can you tell the people where to find you, how to work with you, that kind of stuff, in case they need organization?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yes, I am based in the DC metro area, but I also do virtual organizing where we would sit on Zoom. You show me the space, show me some pictures, and then I write up a plan for you. Mm-hmm. And then I'm your accountability partner and I check in on you and see how your progress is going. But I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I'm not great at it, guys, but I am on it. My pages are all at Declutter by Danae. So that's DCLUTTERBYDNAI. And I think you said it's going to be in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
So at Declutter by Danae on all of those platforms. I also have a newsletter that talks just about these sorts of things. It's all about home organization, productivity, and wellness. It's called Space and Mind Matters, and it's on Substack. So once a month, I share my favorite articles about, how to be your best productive self and just wellness tips that I love and want to share out with the world.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love that. I'm definitely going to subscribe. So
yeah, thank you.
Thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
No problem. All right. Bye.
Great. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the GLP-1 Hub Podcast. If you liked the episode, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review so we can get even better guests on the show and continue to grow the podcast. Also, if you want to connect further, we're on Instagram at GLP-1 Hub. And we have a Facebook group called the GLP-1 Support and Community, so you can find us there. And then also visit our website, glp-1hub.com, where we have tons of resources for you, including nutrition guides, and other types of articles so you can learn more about GLP-1s. See you on the next episode.